Hey, what's up? This is Delio coming to you with the review. This is my review of the MPC Studio. Of course, you've seen a bunch on YouTube already, but you haven't seen this one before because you haven't seen it reviewed by me. So, this is it. This is the MPC Studio, Akai's latest controller right here, and I think it is pretty cool. And what I'm going to try and do is come from the perspective of someone new to music production and not from the experienced MPC user. If you have any of the other MPCs, from the MPC Live to the X or to the Live 2 or the 1, you get a pretty luxurious experience. And so when you're used to that and then you see this in front of you, you're going to feel like you're missing out or you're letting go of a lot of things that you're used to seeing. However, say if you're someone who has never really produced music before, and it's not that you don't have money to buy equipment, but you want to make an educated decision. You want to know that what you're getting is going to do the job, especially if you put money for something that you have not invested in before. And I think this is the direction that Akai wanted to take in this. Of course, we don't know what was their thought process in this, but I can only speculate that this is a piece that is definitely in direct competition with the machine hardware. They came out with the Micro. I think that's the name of it. You can let me know in the comments below. And so this has that same form factor. If you want me to give you a size comparison with the MPK Mini Mark III, there it is right there. And so I'm going to try and just give you kind of a perspective on what it is outside of the realm of, I've been using MPC for years, so therefore, I'm going to see if I could come with a more balanced approach to it, because, I was checking out a lot of reviews, and, it is either clickbait title or something like that, like, this is horrible or anything like that. And I think that for the most part, when I first checked it out, I was like, oh, okay, cool. The full-size pads are good. So you do get that full-size pad thing, and then you also get a small footprint on your desk, and this is easy to be portable. I'm just going to forewarn you, if you get this, watch out for this knob not working the way that you need it to. And also, no, you cannot hook up an MPC 1 Live or X at the same time with this at the same time. It will only connect to the first connected controller, and you have to disconnect the other device in order for this to work. It would be a great addition to have this in addition to the other MPCs connected at the same time, just in case you got to move around your studio and you just want to have that control without dragging the whole drum machine with you. As you can see, there's a lot of buttons on here. We don't have the Q links. That's obviously the first thing everybody talks about. Oh gosh, the Q links are gone. That's how I felt, but they replaced it with the strip. And as you can see, there's some LEDs there. And I have to say that this echoes the, in my opinion, the Machine Jam, because the Machine Jam had touch strips. And I really like that for the mixing aspect of it. So you're going from Q-Link knobs to a touch strip. So this is good in case you want to adjust the master volume or the program volume or pad volume. Another nice thing that I like about this controller that I would have liked to seen on the MPC 1X and Live is that you have the functions labeled underneath the pads right here. This sort of echoes the MK3 machine, because I believe on the pads or outside the pads, and I could show you, there's also functions underneath the pads. Now, you can also do this on the MPC 1X Live by holding shift and hitting the pad, but you have to memorize that. This goes into another thing. Muscle memory. So muscle memory of the functionalities translates well in this section right here. This is your navigational section right here. You got your play, start, your play, start, stop, overdub, record. The muscle memory translates there. The muscle memory to go access your 16 levels, your full levels, those sort of translate over there. But beyond that, you're going to have to depend more on the screen. Obviously, you don't have the big screen, and if you've been working with the MPC 1X Live, and I'm just going to say that, you're going to miss having a big screen right next to your pads. You're going to miss that. But if this is your first MPC, you're not going to miss that, because you're going to be looking at the computer screen. I do wish that this screen was bigger here. This gives you information on what setting you're adjusting, like MIDI tracks. It does respond. It's full colored, and it's definitely cool. It's definitely cool. But from being a user of the MPC One Live, I do miss that. However, if this is your first thing, you're probably going to have more of a muscle memory or more of a habit of going towards the screen. All right. So obviously with MPC controllers and other things like that, you got shift, and as you hit shift, you can do all these different functions right there. Right. You got automation read right there. That changes from red, read to right. So that's in case you want to draw some automation from here in the context of this controller. You can tap your tempos there. You can change the tune to samples right there, which is very interesting because I don't think there's a tune button on any of the other controllers. Pad groups. These obviously highlight groups of 16 all the way up to 128, I believe. You got groups A through D, and then you got E through H, which is cool. Touch strip over here lets you do different things. You can add a filter right there, kind of like those machine effects that you can apply from the touch strip, right? So that's a welcome thing right there. Note repeat right there. The pads feel great. I'm not going to front on that. The pads feel like definitely machine pads, but you don't get the weight. You don't get the weight of that hardware. So you have to be very mindful. You know, I think that's one of the things I like about having that all-in-one hardware thing there is that there's some weight to it, and that weight kind of, for me, gives you a little bit of a confidence to play out. So you don't really get the same weight. You do get to select your sample start, your sample end for when you're trimming samples. You also can activate the quantize by the track. You got different modes there that you can change. Definitely program selects right there. And as you can see here, even though you can't really see it from this angle, you can change a lot of parameters on here. And I think this is good for somebody who's never used an MPC before. If you're an experienced music producer and you tried a lot of different stuff and you want to step over into the MPC world, I wouldn't recommend this because you're not going to get the full experience. But if you're someone starting out who doesn't have a lot of money or a large budget to buy expensive hardware, I believe this is a great place to start. Now, it may be hard for somebody to tell you how to go and fix something from a standalone perspective, unless they've also used this too as well, because this commands a little bit of a different language than the MPC 1X Live. But with this, you have the free MPC Beats software that's free with this, totally connects with that, and it's a very solid platform. And I think it's a great place to start. But I think that as you advance as a music producer, you're going to eventually want more. Now, here's another thing too. Maybe you have to travel, right? And with my MPC Live, I bought a hard case for that. So I'm not going to want to check that in. I'm probably going to want that in the seat underneath me. This, don't bring this out in your seat in the airport. There's not enough room on the plane for this. But this will fit in your backpack. But you will need a hard case for this because, this is cool. I can just slide my backpack. This is going to get jacked up in that backpack. These buttons will survive. I don't believe this will crack. I don't believe this will be damaged, even though it's a very sensitive, touch capacitive thing here. That's very responsive. Also, side note that this does change your note repeat speed and quantization parameters there. I am leery about these knobs. My only gripe about the hardware is that these knobs can sometimes get loose just from normal wear and tear. They're plastic. They present well in the beginning, but because they take a beating after a while, and just weight and pressure and just being moved in the real world, these can come loose. I mean, after a while, this will be something I can just pull off of there. It's a really snug fit right there. I don't know if they might have added adhesive on here. Let's check out the back. So on the back, we got MIDI in and outs by these 3.5 millimeter jacks, MIDI in and MIDI out. So if you want to hook up your synthesizer to this thing or control something, I think that's a great addition to this for connecting things right there. So definitely something you want to use if you want to connect some hardware to this if you don't have any MIDI ins and outs. So that does add to the versatility of it. MPC Studio right there. Okay. On the back here, I'm covering up my serial number. This is what the back looks like right there. Red trim. I think that's a nice touch with their color schemes. And I do think that this is a definitely interesting piece. Like I said, I think this is good for entry level music producers who want to get into the world of MPC without spending a lot of money. You're going to get all the functionality. You're going to get the power of the software. You're going to get connectivity with the plugins, but you're not going to get the traditional classical experience of working with an MPC by having everything right there in front of you. Okay, so there is a difference there, but it's still, I think it's really good. And from using the previous controllers, it's going to take a little bit of time to connect with it to get the muscle memory down. That's the thing about any platform you use, is getting the muscle memory down so you can navigate quickly for this. So I'm slower on this because my muscle memory is very tight on the MPC Live and One because I use those regularly. But if you're coming in, you get to develop your muscle memory. You're definitely going to have a mouse and a keyboard right there. So you're going to have a much less of a footprint on your desktop. But I definitely recommend this for those who are starting out. If you're an advanced music producer, you've been doing it for a while, I would recommend something a little bit more advanced than this. But for entry level, at any age, and you want to explore the world of MPC, the fun of it, I could tell you this right now. If I was 14, I remember how I felt about equipment at 14, which is when I got my first keyboard. If it lit up and it had music and it was involved, I was excited about it. And I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care that there's a little screen. Oh, that's cool. It lights up. It displays stuff. It's cool. I'm a professional music producer now. I got that popping right there. I don't even care. You understand what I'm saying? This thing lights up. This is my MPC. I see other people. Wow, you know. So there's a different attitude towards this that I want to be sensitive towards, versus my attitude like, yeah, I'm missing. No. So this definitely can come and use, and this could come in a clutch situation. Say I may need something like this with a laptop, and no, we don't get our traditional standalone legacy that we've all come to grow and love, but I still have MPC capabilities in a jam. Let's say I'm calling out in the field and I need MPC, but I don't have my hardware with me. I'm not strapped with my MPC, but I have this with me, and I can download that software to my laptop and crank out a click track on a live show. Or in the studio, crank out a reference beat for somebody in the studio, and I don't have my hardware. Well, I got this with me, because this is definitely a much easier thing to carry around. Much less weight on the plane when you're traveling, so you don't have to worry about it. But you're going to have to be careful and put this in something that's going to protect this knob. I'm concerned about this knob. I know how these things go. I've been around the block long enough to know that this is a target when it comes to moving. But it's going to be a while. You got a little bit of forgiveness for a while. But after a while, if you really beat on this thing and work on this thing, this thing's going to get loose. All consistently on the other hardware I have, this thing gets loose. That's why I see so many veteran MPC users replace this knob with something chrome. I'll probably do it and do another video. All right, well, I'm done talking about this. This is my review of the MPC Studio. Definitely get it if you're trying to get into the world of MPC. If you're starting out, if you're an advanced user or an experienced music producer, save up some cash and go for MPC One if money is an issue. Or if you just want to dabble into it, this is a great place to start. And if you don't like it, you're not out a whole lot. And that's it. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video. Peace out.